everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is the next radio drama for Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Matter of fact, it's one of the last few that will be done for Hoard of the Dragon Queen. We are in Chapter 8, and we're playing our last and final session this Saturday. And frankly, that'll be it. That'll be all the radio dramas for this campaign for the past year. Matter of fact, there's one more that hasn't been listened to yet, and I finished it about 3 weeks ago. And there's one more I'll be putting together this week. So really, there's about 2 more left that will be on this channel, dedicated to Hoard of the Dragon Queen. But we're nearing the end, and it's kind of crazy. So what better way to end it than a radio drama full of action, full of combat? All right, this whole thing you're about to listen to, I think it's just under 8 minutes, or maybe just a tad over. I think it's like 7 minutes and 52 seconds or something. It's full action, all of it. Matter of fact, it captures the moment the characters jumped on some wyverns and went chasing after the flying castle the cultists were getting away on. And while they were flying after the castle, here come a bunch of other wyverns with cultists following and trying to kill them midair while they're having this huge combat chasing after the castle. So it's a lot going on, and I'll break it down a little bit more after the radio drama, but let's go ahead and get into this. It's full-on action, guys. You won't be bored, I promise you. And it's about, under 8 minutes. So let's go ahead and get into this. It's called The Wyvern Assault, and it takes place in Chapter 8 of Hoard of the Dragon Queen.
Wyverns dash headlong through the frosted trench of the Parnas Mountains in pursuit of the flying fortress. Turning and spinning, they rapidly evade the giant spires of ice sticking out from the mountainside like frosted quills as the riders come within inches of the deadly prongs. The heroes, unaccustomed to the reptilian mounts, pull at the reins as both beast and man struggle against the ferocious winds and the deadly obstacles arising from the misty fog. The castle, seemingly miles away. Arrows from the pursuing cultists sizzle past, striking armor, saddle, and shield, or falling into the cloud-filled abyss below. They quickly gain ground on the escaping heroes. Captain Othelston, leading the cultists, scans the sky and yells out,
"Use your lances at close range. Knock them out of the sky."
Understood immediately. Moving.
Several wyverns pull away and head directly to the nearest adventurers, lances held high and cloaks whipping in the wind. Nearby, Storm and Thembraeus fire off a few shots from their heavy crossbow, when suddenly, the wyvern spins as the jaded facade of an iced spire emerges without warning.
Why would you go through that?
The beast roars in shock, narrowly missing the spire, and eventually turning upright again as Storm dangles from his saddle, still attached by his safety belt. With a great effort, he reseats himself as Thembraeus pats him on the back, loading his next crossbow bolt.
What? Let's not do that again. They're up ahead.
From Althea and Cricket's left, a wyvern zooms in close to attack, with a lance pointed directly at them, but abruptly slams into a spire, shattering ice and bone, sending the enemy into the depths below. Cricket laughs with delight as she aims her heavy crossbow and sends a bolt into another wyvern dropping from above. Althea closes her eyes for a brief moment, then casts a spell of heat metal at the closest combatant. Its occupant suddenly squirming in his saddle as his armor heats to an unbearable temperature. His companion leaps from the saddle to attack the pair from above, but his jump is ill-timed. He narrowly misses and plummets to the ground below. The enemy wyvern slows down, its driver too distracted by the spell's effects. Elsewhere, flying in the thick of the spires, Pax pulls the reins of the beast, narrowly dodging another outcropping and diving deeper into the mists as she attempts to evade the prongs of ice. Dipping, turning, spinning, the wyvern dodges both arrow and ice, using hairpin turns through a maze of death. A cultist follows close behind. Mortimer fires off a heavy crossbow bolt into the pursuers, nailing the first group and dropping the driver of the Wyvern nearby. The seat is quickly filled, however, as the cultist leaps forward and takes the reins. Pax whispers a small incantation, and beautiful, yet deadly, angelic beings spring from the air surrounding her and attack the nearby Wyverns. She pulls the reins hard, and the Wyvern ignites through the clouds, forming up with her fellow rat-catchers. Behind them, the last remaining cultists gather, planning their final move. As they fly down the trench, gaining ground on the palace, a sudden shadow casts its darkness across the entire group. There is a brief bout of confusion, but as the heroes look up, the great bulk of a blue dragon glides upon the wind above them. Its hideous and massive form dwarfing them and their wyverns below. Linathan the dragon, returning to his roost, soars above the trench. Paying little attention to the small skirmish occurring below, his sinister copper eyes set clearly on the flying castle. Electricity ignites from his scales around the trench, his majesty and his presence causing the air to sizzle with living arcana. From one of the icy towers, Lagothkus the giant emerges and walks to the balcony's edge, leaning against the railing and looking down at the unusual sight below them. His personal guard join him, each staring in amazement at the small group of wyverns closing in fast. He puts his hands to his chin and yells out over his shoulder.
Slow us down, Escorta. Let's give them a bit of slack.
As you command.
My lord, those could be saboteurs, assassins, and God knows what else. Is this wise? Probably not. But my gut tells me this is just what we've been looking for. And what is that? A way out.
Linathan sails past the balcony, his colossal and immense form taking up the entire horizon, blocking the view of the encounter below. Lagothkus crosses his arms as light shimmers across his body, reflected from the scales of the ancient beast. He follows the dragon as it disappears into the castle, then glances down as the wyverns gather, swiftly approaching the fortress. The enemy suddenly backs off as the skies begin to clear. The heroes gather close to one another, their mounts forming a somewhat stable formation. The beasts seem to instinctively take control and gently soar to one of the largest towers with an open courtyard, capable of handling several mounts if needed. The wyverns land, their massive legs absorbing the impact and folding in their wings, allowing their passengers to disembark. One by one, the heroes drop from the saddles, adjusting their weapons and stare upwards into an enormous palace crafted from ice and snow. A beautiful diamond-like exterior, harboring a malevolent presence within. With a nod to one another and weapons ready, they approach the Arctic dwelling.
All right, guys, that's it. That is the one of the last ones we'll be doing. If you've noticed, the radio dramas have always referenced the characters in the background, in the distance. They've never referenced the characters or directly talked about the characters or used their names or used their voice at all. And that was done on purpose. And as we got into the end, I felt like it was time to make them the spotlight, make them the spotlight in the radio dramas. And it was all kind of coming together, right? So these last few radio dramas have been very specific towards them. And this grew out of a very frustrating session. For me as a DM, I don't think for my players, but for me mainly, a very frustrating session where actually I ran that whole Wyvern encounter, but I'd kind of unintentionally made it very complicated for myself. So I felt like, okay, I need to go back. I want to capture this moment the way I envisioned it. Now, a lot of things that happened in that radio drama actually happened in the session. The Wyverns slamming into the ice, Pax kind of getting lost down in the trench and just dodging a bunch of stuff. I had Storm and Thembraeus also dodging stuff like crazy, and the Wyvern did one time spin, and I think Storm maybe twice had come out of his saddle with Thembraeus trying to help him. Heat metal cast by Althea, and with Cricket, riding shotgun with her. All happened in the session, as well as Pax, going back to Pax, casting her angelic spirits out towards one of the combatants. So I took little snippets, highlights from the campaign, from the session, and just put them in. Couldn't put in everything. And I did put in one of the spectacle moments where you see Linathan. You probably heard my dog back there. Don't worry about it. Just tune it out. I'm trying to tune it out because I'm not recording this again. But you can hear Linathan, what I call a spectacle moment, where something just tremendous and crazy happens, but it doesn't really affect the characters in any way. It's just something they're saying at a distance. So you can see Linathan, and you can see the buildup of Blagofgus, and now how he sees the characters. Now, he's never seen them before, but he's heard, he's heard all this kind of stuff about them, what problems they've been causing, and now here they are coming towards the castle, and he sees this as a way out of a deal that he's made long ago. So all the elements are there, and actually, if you go back and listen to a couple of my other radio dramas, you'll see all this leading up to this moment. Blagofgus made several appearances in previous radio dramas. So you can hear him and listen to some of his attitude. Matter of fact, the last radio drama right before this, called Wizards and Warriors, really highlights some of the hostility that's going on. But anyway, guys, that's it. I don't want to make this too long. This is nearing the end. These kind of radio dramas that are action-packed are very dense. Maybe I'll put a little image up. Very, very dense. They take a long time to do, and the longer they run, the more dense and complicated they become. So me keeping it around 8 minutes was kind of a miracle. But this was really difficult. It was very dense with effects, ambient effects, explosions. I was using science fiction, like sci-fi effects and all kinds of stuff to make it sound like the Wyverns were zooming all over the place and ice was forming almost right in front of them as they were dodging. It was really tricky to do for a radio drama. And, the last one I did like this was Blades of the Brotherhood. Also very tricky, difficult to write action because you got to have pithy words. You got to cut your sentences short, and you just got to get to it. It's tough. So anyway, it was fun, but wow, was it complicated. Now, I've got one more radio drama after this, and then one more that I still have to create, which is the final. It's the closing radio drama. It'll be very short. It'll be like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I've already thought about it. I've already got it written out in like a rough skeleton form. I've picked out the music. It's ready to go. And then, frankly, sadly, Horde of Dragon Queen will be finished. And we're going to take a break. And then, of course, the radio dramas will begin again with Rise of Tiamat. And, of course, I think I'm going to show a little bit more about my other radio dramas that I've done for other campaigns on the channel while we're on hiatus for a little bit. Because, we got to take a break. DMs, we got to take a break, and I'm going to take a big break. But anyway, guys, that is it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you've been with me since the beginning, thank you for watching all of these. But maybe it's a blessing, maybe it's a curse, but hey, we're almost done. We've only got about 2 more left. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.